Hey guys, Jeff here with Barn and Home, and want to talk to you about agricultural buildings. As you can see, this is a big boy hanging out here behind me. And what I really like about agricultural buildings is the price point is a lot less money. A lot of times it has to do with most guys on these ag barns are not going to do a cement floor. So they're going to be saving themselves the $6, $7, $8 per square foot. Also, a lot of times the farmers and people who have access to equipment, they get involved with the project. And if you look at the gravel work and the stone work around us, that was all done by our client. So we have the opportunity just to do what we do best, and that's come in and really knock out a nice big building. But check out a few of the features that you want to think through if you're going to do an agricultural style building. Number one, you can see the clear paneling. A lot of guys will do just an actual clear panel. This is an opaque panel. And so we wanted to blend it in so the white would have a little more match with the wall. The other thing you notice is most of these ag barns are not going to have overhead doors just because it's a different purpose. So we're going to go with these large sliding doors. They're going to just really help to serve to get in the tractors and the combines and the larger pieces of equipment that they need to run their farms. We went on this building with the 2-foot or the 24-inch overhang all the way around the building. Highly encourage you guys to think through the overhang and the size, because the further that overhang works, the further that water is going to be shed away. Now, let's take a look at the inside of the building and we'll talk through some of that cool stuff. So here is the gable wall of the building, and this guy is 80 foot wide. A lot of truss manufacturers will actually max out at the 80-foot mark for a single free-spanning roof truss. You can find them at 100 foot, but once you get wider than that, they begin to need or require kind of a support post in the middle, unless you're going to go with a steel frame building. So going to be a little bit different engineering. Now, this is a huge door right here. This is a 32-foot wide opening. And when you get into these size doors, the problem is when you're facing the west, especially out here in the Midwest, we deal with so much wind that you really have to understand the difference in a quality barn builder and people who think through what you need. So on a barn like this, when these doors are open and this is facing the west, we get so much power in the wind that will actually literally come and rip through, that the wind can literally go into that building and lift the whole building up. And that's why the depth of the posts matter. That's why the having the hurricane ties and the little features that really separate quality barn building from amateur barn building, those are the details, but they're also reflected in the price point. But I highly encourage people to do your research, and before you work with a good builder, you know, just make sure that they're willing to walk you through and talk through those details so that you're comfortable with everything. But let's check out the inside. Okay, so we've got our big sliding doors that we need to address. Now, this is not fully completed yet. It's still a work in progress. And if you notice this channel right here, this is a 2x6. And in order to keep these doors from doing this in the wind, number one, they do have a stay, a roller stay right there. But we're going to take the extra step, and this is going to become a concrete channel. So all through here in the ground, literally there's going to be, the concrete's going to come up, and there'll be a backer about an inch and a half tall, so that the whole entire door will stop against an entire little concrete. And then this will be a footer. And because we're dealing with machinery, heavy equipment, this is going to have to be fully footered, 3 foot deep in the ground. And then the concrete will be 7 inches thick, because, you know, these guys are going to be driving massive pieces of equipment over here. And then one clever thing that's going to happen is some specialty rounded pieces, like a U-shaped rebar, will be embedded in the concrete, and it'll act as a holder for the front. So we really want this door to minimize any of this movement. And today's a good day to illustrate, because you can see with the wind. And that's why our client came out and we just added these little stakes in the ground. Okay, one more thing I want to point out. going to be in the quality of your materials. There's two things about buildings, okay? One is the quality of craftsmanship, and that's going to have to do with, can your crew guys work a level? Can they make the building straight? And can they cut the boards, you know, at the right lengths? That's craftsmanship. The second thing is quality of materials. I call it the ingredients in a building. So, case in point, this door right here, most of us think that you can go down to a big box store, which you can, and just go buy yourself an exterior door. And you can pick up a door at a big box store for, honestly, as cheap as $200, $300. This door that we put in all of our buildings, this door costs me around $600. And for some people, they think, well, that's really extreme, and so they want to save that money. That's totally fine if that works for you. Here's the difference, though. This jamb is all made out of composite. This is not a wood jamb. And then this is a nice piece of steel down here, and just the hardiness of the door. When you're dealing with a steel door and composite jambs, this door is not going to rot. And I've had to replace a lot of doors on barns because they were wood jambs. And so that's just a small detail. But if you're the type of client who goes, I really don't ever want to replace this door, I'm going to use this building, you know, for the next 20, 30 years of my life. Or if you're the type of person that says, I kind of don't care, then you have to make that determination. But that's how we like to build. Okay, it's a pretty dang big building, 132 feet long and 80 feet wide. Here's the things that I want to point out to you. Number one, check out this light. This is what clear paneling does. We've got our doors shut, and this is all the free light that we've gained just by adding those OPEG clear panels. When you look up to the side here, because of the size of this building, we had to add these additional braces. Those 2x6s are called knee braces, and they help, it's an additional support to make sure that that wind is not going to come in and try and lift this roof off of the building. The other thing I want to point out, as I have on a lot of my videos, is if you notice at the bottom here, all my posts have this black coverage. This has been dipped in tar at the factory, and then they take this black plastic and melt onto the bottom of the post. Highly encourage you guys, if you don't have access to these posts from the factory, we get them from in Ohio, post protector sleeves also work really well. You can order those directly online, and I think even through your big box stores you can get them, and that's a plastic sleeve that will literally slip on the bottom of the post. Now, because of the size of this building, these are not a 2x6 post, these are actually 3-ply 2x8s. That's how the engineering came out. So with that, your knee bracing, 4-foot on-center roof trusses, free spanning. Every one of these roof trusses has a hurricane clip or hurricane tie put onto them. We've got our big giant LVL up here. And one thing I want to point out as well, if you look at our headers, the engineering on this building actually called for 2 2x12s on the inside of the post and 1 2x12 on the outside of the post. And that just has to do with the magnitude of, when you look at the volume of potential snow load that could be sitting on this roof, we want to make sure. Now, we set our roof trusses on top of our truss carriers. Some of the other barn builders, they will saddle, they'll actually take it and they'll seat they'll take the roof truss and literally seat right in between the post and notch it out. That's a great way to build as well. You see that with a lot of decking. But regardless, do the homework, get yourself a great building. Really appreciate you stopping by, and I'm just trying to help you get educated on how the best practices are in building pole barns wherever you are. Hey, do me a huge favor. It really does help with the whole YouTube thing when you hit the subscribe button and whatever else people do, notifications and all that kind of stuff. But really appreciate you stopping by, and hopefully you're learning something. So thanks for being part of the Barn and Home family.